Okay, YouTube world, thanks for checking in here this evening. Glad to have you with us as we hang out and uh, we'll do this live stream and getting ready to start the net here in about 4 minutes, 3 minutes and 14 seconds, something like that. Um, been a little bit of a chaos going on around here. Still got all kinds of stuff laying around on the desk. And let's see, audio's a little low. Let me see, it looks like we're low over here too on the, yep, we are. Watch your ears. That's where we're supposed to be. Okay. Check 1, 2.
Land 32 to the last units, you're coming in good.
Alright. A little radio check action.
ATL 210, WRCK 347, clear.
Okay. Let's see. So what's going on around here today? We are trying to install an NX 700 radio in my F-150, and that's been going. The install has gone really well, and I thought I had the software to program it, but I've got the software. I don't have the license key for the software, so I've ordered a copy of it, so I will have a legit copy with a legit license, and that way it'll all be legit, hopefully. We'll see. Unfortunately, that won't be here until a week from tomorrow. It's kind of funny. Seems like everything I've ordered off of Amazon or really anywhere, stuff that you typically you order on Wednesday, you'll have it on Friday. All of those things have gone by the wayside here with this pandemic. Meanwhile, we have companies like JB Hunt and Schneider and some of the other big trucking carriers that use the railroad for some of their long haul stuff are suggesting that they have never had better experience, better service from the railroads. So it's a strange dynamic, whereas overall our freight is down, and it's down so much that we don't have any problem meeting customers' expectations in terms of service. Um, so I don't know. It's not a good problem to have. I'm glad that the trucking companies are happy with the service they've gotten from the railroad, but not a good problem. I liked it better when companies were unhappy with our service because we were so busy. Not that I liked them being unhappy, I just liked us being that busy. But here we are, we're just about to go live. Let me make sure I've got a script. Looks like I do. Looks like I've got both pages of a script, so I don't have to wing it. And here we go. Good evening, and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. I'll be working off the Pine Log repeater tonight, but we will be networked in with Sassafras, Somerville, Ball Ground, Jersey, Lookout Mountain, Madison, Crawford, Noonan, Columbus, Moreland, Zebulon, and Zello. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone who's made the North Georgia GMRS network the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Let me break. Sorry about that. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin, and I'm located in Woodstock, Georgia, right here at Studio B. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we would like to know. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. We love to hear from the kids. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address the other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. The use of your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and when you sign out of the net. When signing in, please speak slowly because that's how I type. And clearly as you give your tactical unit number, call sign, name, and location. So, TAC number, call sign, name, location. 4 things. Thank you. At this time, I'll take check-ins. Anyone wishing to check in by way of Zello, please call Net Control now.
Atlanta 32, checking in and out of Springfield, Missouri.
Okay, Chris, Atlanta 32, I've got you in and out from Springfield, Missouri. So based on that, I'm gonna assume that you got that job. Congratulations on that, Chris, and I'm glad to hear from you all the way from Missouri. Do we have any other Zello check-ins? Please call Net Control now. We might not have any more.
McDonough 22, WRCR 952 in Stockbridge, Georgia. This is Tim checking in on the Zello tonight, patiently waiting for the repair of the McDonough repeater.
Okay, Net Control is acknowledging. McDonough 22, Tim in Stockbridge, waiting for repairs to the McDonough repeater. And yes, we're all anxiously waiting for that repeater to come back online. We've got a pretty good list of them in the lineup tonight, but McDonough is not there. So I guess we'll have to wait until Atlanta 60 has the opportunity to get over there and install that new equipment. One last call for Zello check-ins, and then we're going to move on to visitors.
This is Dublin 944, Rick, currently in Forest Park, WRDM 860.
Okay, Net Control acknowledges Dublin 944 Rick in Forest Park. Thank you, Rick, for that check-in. Looking forward to talking with you here in a little while tonight. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on now and accept any visiting transient licensed GMRS operators or any new members to North Georgia GMRS Network. And there's a bunch of new members out there. And even if you've checked in once before as a new member, if you've only been in a few times, we'll still take your check-in now if you'd like to. And we're also taking check-ins from visiting or transient guests of North Georgia GMRS. If you're not a member and you don't have an NG GMRS tactical unit number, you can check in with the TAC number from where you're from or just with your call sign. We'd love to hear from any visitors to the area. So please call Net Control now, new members, visitors, and guests.
This is Atlanta 80, WRFN 658, Scott from Dallas, new member.
Okay, Net Control acknowledging Atlanta 80. Scott from Dallas, I've got you in the log, and I'm looking forward to talking to you, Scott, here in just a little while. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and move on and take Pine Log check-ins. Anyone wishing to check in from the Pine Log repeater, and of course, new members. If I can spit those words out. New members, guests, and visitors are still welcome to check in, as well as Zello if you can get the break. But Pine Log repeater members, please check in now.
This is WQZD 787. Brandon and the Antioch community checking in as a non-member. WQZD 787.
This is Atlanta 780 WQUV 439, Houston and Austell. Good evening.
This is Atlanta 948 WRAR 430. Good. From Woodstock. Check me in and out, Justin.
This is Atlanta 91 WQXN 735. Apostle from Marietta checking in.
This is Atlanta 57 WQZC 82, Andrew in Holly Springs.
This is Atlanta 26 WRAB 450. Flip in the Druid Hills checking in.
This is 276 WREB 972 Kirby from Canton checking in.
This is
733 Atlanta 36, Bill attending Mighty Pine Log.
This is Atlanta 940 WRAR 806, Shannon and Ackworth. Gonna have to check in and out tonight, guys. Have a great evening.
This is Atlanta 275 WREB 972, Ken and Canton.
Okay, at this time, Net Control will acknowledge Atlanta 80, Scott from Dallas. I guess I already got you, Scott. I'm sorry about that, but you're in there just one time, but we'll come back to you here in just a couple of minutes. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 780, Houston in Austell. Thank you, Houston, for checking in with us tonight. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And I also have Atlanta 948, Gary in Woodstock. Gary's checking in and out with us tonight. It's great to hear from you, Gary. Looking forward to catching up with you and your adventures of the week, probably in person this weekend. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 91 Alfonso in Marietta. Thank you, Alfonso, for checking in with us tonight. I'm looking forward to talking with you. I have Atlanta 57 Andrew in Holly Springs. And Andrew, I have a Hyundai recall question for you. So when we come around to that, I'll hit you up with that. Next I have Atlanta 26 Flip in Druid Hills. Flip, I'm looking forward to talking with you and find out what's been happening in your world this week. Next I have Atlanta 276 Kirby in Canton. Kirby, I'm glad to hear from you, and we'll have to find out how the hot sauce experiments have proceeded. Uh, Next on my list, Atlanta 36. Bill, I didn't catch where you're at, Bill, but I did hear you checking in on the Mighty Pine log. So you're somewhere within the footprint of that repeater. I also have Atlanta 940. Shannon in Ackworth. Shannon is checking in and out tonight. Thank you for checking in, Shannon. It's great to hear from you. And looking forward to catching up with you and EJ and Tyler and the rest of that group very soon. Finally, I have Atlanta 275 Ken in Canton. Thank you for checking in with us tonight, Ken. It's great to hear from you, and looking forward to that conversation here in just a little while. Do I have any additional Pine Log check-ins? Anyone wishing to check in on a Pine Log repeater, please call Net Control now. All right, YouTube folks, I don't have a mute button over here that I can reach, so when I have to cough, you do have to listen.
WNV 274, Donald from Blairsville, Georgia.
All right, hey, checked in RF. Okay, Net Control will acknowledge Atlanta 253, Donald in Blairsville. It's great to hear from you, Donald. Glad you're able to make it in tonight. Looks like you made an RF check-in, so that's pretty cool. And I'm going to go ahead at this time and take check-ins from any repeater anywhere. Anyone wishing to check in to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net, please call Net Control now.
This is 130 WRDC on Davis and Newman. Check in and I'll be short time.
Justin, this is Noonan 25, WRCL 957 by relay Noonan 26. Joe and Mary Catherine, short time tonight, in and out via Zello.
Yes. And 29 WRCU 796, Marty and Tyrone. Check in and out here tonight, Justin, and good luck with the net.
It is Atlanta 210, Atlanta 211, WRCK 347, checking in from Amicalola with Sassafras repeater.
This is WRCD 598, Atlanta 10, Jesse in Lilburn.
Okay, at this time, Net Control will acknowledge Atlanta 130, Davis in Noonan. Thank you, Davis, for checking in with us. I've got you in the log as in and out. Next on my list, I have Noonan 25 and by relay Noonan 26, Joe and Mary Catherine. I've got both of you in and out of the log. Thank you, Joe, for checking in with us tonight. Short time. I appreciate you've got some other things going on this evening, and I'd intended on trying to hang out with you on some of that, but your time changed. So here I am, and there you are. But that's just the way things go sometimes. So maybe one of these days. Next on my list, I have Noonan 29, Marty in Tyrone. Marty is in and out with us tonight. Thank you, Marty, for checking in with us. I hope you have the opportunity to monitor, and if not, I hope you have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 210 Stephen in Amicalola Falls with Atlanta 211 Marla. I assume that she's also in Amicalola Falls. What a beautiful place to spend a day. Happy quarantining up there. And do you go up the stairs or do you go down the stairs or both? That's my question. Um, I do neither. I drop Julie off at the top and pick her up at the bottom. That's typically what I do when we go up there. I will walk around a little bit, but I'm not going to go up those stairs. Just I'm too fat for that. But we'll talk about that when we get to you. Next on my list is Atlanta 170 Jesse in Lilburn. Jesse, it's great to hear from you. And I think I caught bits and pieces of conversation through the week that maybe that crazy work rotation that you have been doing might be coming to or has come to an end. So looking forward to catching up with you on that. One last call for check-ins from any repeater anywhere, and then we're going to go to the top for comments.
This is Atlanta 291 WQYJ 279, Nick in Ackworth, in and out. Good evening.
Okay, I have Atlanta 291 Nick in Ackworth checking in and out. Thank you for that check-in, Nick, and hope you're able to hang out and monitor, and we'll catch up with you real soon. Heard a juicy rumor today that we might not be going back before June. So I don't know if there's any validity to that or not, but I'm okay with it. I'm not looking forward to resuming the rat race. I'm looking forward to hanging out here in Studio B, aka the Woodstock office, for as long as we can make that happen. But when it comes around, it'll be fine. We'll make the best of it. So with that, I'm going to head back up to the top of my list. I have Atlanta 32, Chris in Springfield, Missouri. Chris checked in and out with us, and Chris, I hope that that driving job is working out well for you, and I hope that you're happy out there on the road. Next on my list, checking in by way of Zello, is McDonough22, Tim in Stockbridge. Tim, are you hanging out with us tonight, or were you in and out and I missed it? Okay. Oh, shoot, I lost my cap. Hope I don't tip that thing over. Okay, hearing nothing from Tim, I'm going to go ahead and mark him as in and out. I know that sometimes Zello can be tricky, and hopefully that's not the case here, and he was just busy. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to Dublin 944, Rick in Forest Park. Rick, how you doing this evening? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show Rick as in and out. Maybe I wasn't paying attention when we checked in. Maybe he's just having a hard time getting through on Zello. It's hard to say from here, but Rick, if you were trying to get in, we'll try to make a break for you here after a while and come back to you and see if you're able. Next on my list, we have an RF check-in from Atlanta 80 Scott in Dallas. Scott, how you doing this evening?
Good evening, Justin. Still got painting projects going on here at the house. I did manage to make it down to Atlanta 159, Chuck at Pike County Communications, and got me set up with a nice mobile radio, and today I spent the day smoking some pork butts.
Oh, very nice. I love a day smoking butts. But I really want to ask you, what kind of a radio did you install in the mobile?
Got set up with the Motorola 1550 40 watts, and it seems to do very well.
Very nice. The 1550. Is that 40 watt? Is that a standard power level for that radio, or is it like the Kenwoods where they come in the either the standard power or the high power?
I do believe that it comes in either a 25 watt or a 40 watt, and this one happens to be the 40 watt.
Excellent. We run a 40 watt Kenwood in Julie's mobile in her Jeep, and that radio performs exceedingly well. I'm very, very happy with it. And I'm in the process of installing a 40 watt mobile in my truck. Um, I removed a 40 watt mobile in the truck. I was a little unhappy with it. The audio quality was not very good coming from its speaker, so I've replaced that with a newer radio. And I thought I had everything I needed to program it because I've got the USB adapter and I've got the software, but what I don't have is a license for the software. So I have gone ahead and ordered the uh, uh, the software, so it'll come with a license, and now I just have to wait for that to come in. So hopefully next Friday. Meanwhile, the radio is installed and ready to go in the truck. It just sits on the dash and says unprogrammed. But that's good stuff. Glad to hear from you, Scott. And I'm jealous about smoking the butt. I wish that I had the opportunity to do that. Might get that chance this weekend. We have a couple of small butts in the refrigerator, and so that opportunity may come around real soon. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 780, Houston in Austell. How you doing this evening, Houston?
Hi, good evening, Justin. Good evening to the rest of the net. We're doing great over this way. Uh, Not getting out much. We have to stay in the house, I guess, like everybody else. And order groceries some online, let the people bring them. I did get me some good used radios in today from eBay. I couldn't find a part for my old 930, so I accidentally run up on a a group of them that the government was selling, and got all of them. I think there was 7 of them in it. But one of them had my part in it, so that's what we're doing, is sitting here tinkering and swapping parts. Back to you, Justin.
Fantastic. Well, the software that I ordered for programming radios is a master disk that's got a whole bunch of Kenwood software on it. So hopefully it's got something on it that will program that 860. I'm not sure which version of Kenwood software I need for that, but I do need to reprogram the 860. I had an issue with the truck. The battery was failing on it, and apparently uh, we had a low voltage situation, and that must have wiped out the memory on the 860. So it says unprogrammed when you put power on it. So I'm going to need to program that again, and I think we're going to put that into service with an external speaker at Atlanta 911's house one day soon. So that's a coming project, and I may need some assistance with you from that. 7 radios. Uh, was that a an auction type of a purchase?
Yes, sir, it was. Well, not actually an auction, I don't guess. Well, I guess it was too. Okay. Yeah, I want them.
Fantastic. Well, I hope you got them at a good price, and I hope you're able to find some good ones out of that mess that you can reprogram for GMRS and make available to the membership. And keep that in mind, folks, if you're looking for good used radios. Houston sometimes has them for sale, so check with him. And usually all he wants is what he's got in them. So um, pretty good opportunity to buy radios cheap from Houston. Not sure how all that works right these days with distancing being what it is, but I'm sure he can set one out on the porch, and you can put the cash in his mailbox or something of that nature. We can make it work if we want to. But thank you for that, Houston. Glad to hear that you're back and back up to your old tricks and your ways of enjoying the hobby. Yeah, it's great to hear from you. and I trust that your recovery is nearly finished and you're ready for the ham fests. But the ham fests aren't ready for us. We're just going to have to wait. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 948 Gary right here in Woodstock, across the backyard from me. Gary is in and out tonight. He has some other pressing activities to engage in. So we're going to thank Gary for checking in with us and move on to Atlanta 91 Alfonso in Marietta. Alfonso, how you doing this evening?
How you doing tonight, Justin? Hey, how's everybody doing on the net? Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Working 2 days a week, still carrying 40 hours, and everything's pretty good on this end. My only question, break. How do you guys get away with keeping radios in your car unexposed like that without somebody breaking in them? I'm consistently having somebody constantly looking into my car, even at work. So I keep my radios hidden. So I don't understand how you guys get away with that. It's just I haven't had any thing broken in yet. Been pretty fortunate, but it's been interesting to see handprints on my windows every day.
Well, that is interesting and a little bit disturbing, I suppose. And I might change my ways if I had those concerns. But I'm not aware that anybody has scoped out my truck that way. Of course, I'm right here in Woodstock, and most of the time, I park the truck over at the Park and Ride, which is a church parking lot. So we don't really seem to have any issues over there. Um, I have taken the truck into Atlanta a couple of times, um, but when I do, I park in a couple of different places, but they're always surface streets and high visibility locations. So I don't I've never had an issue. But the truck's not in Atlanta very often, and that's really interesting that you're working 2 days a week, but you're getting your 40 hours in. So that must be a couple of 20-hour rotations at master control. Um, I would imagine that about 14 or 15 hours into that would turn into a pretty tough job. So hats off to you for working those shifts like that. And that would be an absolutely essential job. Somebody's got to be able to keep that equipment operating and switching. And I know there's a lot of automation available in those machines today as compared to what there was 10 or even 20 years ago. But it's still not fully automatic, and somebody's got to push the button, and somebody's got to change the cart, and yeah. So I'm glad that we have people that are able to step up and meet the challenge. And if the challenge is putting in a couple of 20-hour rotations, then that's what it is. So glad you're able to do that for us, Alfonso. And yeah, I don't know. The radios sit on the dash. Back in my truck driving days, the radios always sat on the dash. And the only time I ever had to worry about a radio getting taken out of a truck back in those days was when I would go on vacation and my truck would sit at our yard for, any length of time. And it got to the place where rather than leave the truck sit at the yard, I would go ahead and bring the truck home and either park it at my place, or that turned into an issue, so I started parking it out at my folks' place, and never had any issues there. But yes, the only time I ever had a radio taken off of the dash of my truck was while the truck was sitting in my own company's freight yard. So, but yeah, we had good luck with our radios mounted up on the dash here. So I guess it's just a big part of the circles you travel in. But all right then, Alfonso, thank you for that, and I'm gonna let Andrew tell us a little bit about his week. The Atlanta 5-7, how you doing?
Good evening, Justin, and everyone in the net. Had to transition over to the HT again. My base all of a sudden didn't want to receive after I checked in. That was really odd, so I guess I got some exploring to do after the net here. So, heard you had a recall question for Hyundai. Must be on your Elantra, huh?
That is correct. The paperwork is actually in the other room, and I don't recall exactly what the issue was, but yeah, it's actually my son's car now, but he's in the army, so obviously he's not using it, so it sits here a lot. But we thought that we may as well go ahead and get this thing taken care of. So I'll find that paperwork later and text you a VIN number, and when next time you go into work, maybe you can run that and let us know what we need to do on this end. And yeah, we can bring it over to you one of these days, and we're not in any hurry for it. So don't go out of your way. Wait till your next work shift, and we'll figure it out that way because the car just sits here. Uh, Jordan's in the army, and well, we're not going anywhere either. So yeah, that's the recall deal. Oh, anti-lock.
All right, yeah, copy that. I already know all about it, obviously. It is a overlay relay and fuse holder that goes into your fuse box, believe it or not. Has to do with the ABS system.
Brakes.
Having continuous power could potentially cause a short and cause a fire even if the vehicle is turned off. So they have it to where we actually have to take the cover off the fuse box. There is an overlay that goes over the fuse box. Another printed circuit board that has fuses and relays on it, and it fits in over that, and then a new cover is put onto the fuse box. So, and just so you know, I have not heard of any direct reports of any type of fires or anything like that, or had anyone tell me that. So, I have not personally run into the problem, but that's what it is right there. It's basically an overlay board in the fuse box.
All right, and sure enough, the paperwork has magically appeared in my hands, and it is for the anti-lock braking system. So, yeah, that sounds like that's exactly what it is. So, I'll get the VIN number to you, and like I said, there's no hurry on our part. And whenever you can get that in and get that handled, then we'll make arrangements and go from there. So, good stuff. What else is going on?
Well, as far as making arrangements, we're hardly doing anything. So if you wanted to bring that thing over as early as tomorrow, if you're chomping at the bit, bring it on down and I'll get it taken care of. Because I got a bunch of guys that are just willing to want to do something at that place. So, yeah, just send me a message and we'll get all that worked out. Other than that, hey, we're doing good over here. Family is still good. Nobody's sick. Everyone's in good spirits. And, hey, that's all we can ask for. So we are doing good on this end.
Excellent. That's good to hear. And yeah, same thing here. We're staying away from people, even the ones that we like, and that seems to be a good program for the time being. Getting a little bit anxious though. I mean, I would certainly enjoy hanging out on the back porch with a couple of refreshments and a few friends and tell some stories. Some of them might even be true, but probably not. But in any case, yeah, this is going well for us, but it's been going for quite a long while. So we're anxious to see something change there. Thank you for that, Andrew. And yeah, I'll get you that VIN number. I don't know that we can get it to you tomorrow. I could, tomorrow evening, I could maybe drop it off at your place, or Saturday we could maybe run it up to your shop. But that's probably the soonest we can do anything. And like I say, I'd prefer it be done under your watch. So if I don't know what your work schedule is, so we'll just keep it happening that way. And then yeah, with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Next, I have Atlanta 26 Flip in Druid Hills. How you doing tonight, Flip?
We're doing well here in town. I hope everybody out there is doing well. Gosh, it seems like just yesterday was the last Thursday night net, so I guess we're falling into a little bit of a routine, and things are going fine. I have to tell you this quick story, though. I got a little stir-crazy this afternoon. So my mother-in-law had brought down last week some crafty masks that she had created for all of us. and drop them off. And I decided to go out to Sam's Club this afternoon to pick up some supplies that we needed, not toilet paper, but other things. And I have to be honest with you, I felt a little bit duddy putting the mask on. I walked in, and I was kind of looking down, and every time I looked up at somebody, they had a mask on too. So I guess that's sort of our new reality these days. But all is well. Things went well there, and I'm back home safely, and everybody here is virus-free as far as we know. And things are going well, so I hope all you guys are doing well too.
Outstanding, yes. And I can relate to that bit of self-consciousness about wearing a mask. I experienced that for just a minute. The first time that I began wearing a mask and going to the store for, simple things, I felt really self-conscious. I felt, very dorky, and, why am I really doing this? And then I realized that so was everybody else. And that the minority, the very, very small minority of people were not wearing masks. But the majority of people, the employees, the customers, were wearing masks. And I just wonder how long the mask habit is going to continue once we feel like we're kind of clear of this. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I I'm not in any hurry to stop wearing the mask. The mask doesn't bother me one bit. I'm very comfortable having it on now. I'm not self-conscious anymore, and I would probably, I don't know when we're going back to work, but I would probably wear one to work when that time comes. So if the office protocol doesn't call for wearing masks, it's about to. Because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have one on when I go in, eventually when we go in. But yeah, so that's kind of a neat thing. I don't have a cool mask though. I think that's something I'm going to have to figure out is whether or not I want to get a cool mask and have some kind of a filter behind it, or if I just want to have the simple blue thing. All we have right now are the paper masks that you get at the hardware place for dust and lawn mowing and that sort of thing. So it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. And by golly, we've got it, so we're going to use it. And but there we go. All right, Flip. Well, thank you for that story. And one more note, since you kind of brought it up and you reminded me of it, we are resuming the Cabin Fever series. So Saturday evening at 6 p.m. we have Bill Holiday will be on, and we're looking forward to hearing Bill operate the net Saturday evening at 6 o'clock. And he's coming up in my list real soon. But before we talk to Bill, I want to talk to Atlanta 276, Kirby in Canton, and I'm curious how the hot sauce experiment went. How'd that taste?
Well, I flew too close to the sun. I got everything in the brine and let it ferment for 2 weeks, and I put all the peppers in a blender, blended it all up, and when I took the peppers out of the blender to go transfer it over to a bowl, the bottom of my blender broke and spilt everything all over the place and just wasted it all.
Oh my golly, the bottom of the blender broke. That is tragedy. Oh man, I can hear the horror and the agony in you just voicing the story. Man, what a bummer that is. But yeah. Um, well, I guess you're gonna have to. Run another batch.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, well, I guess I got to make it again. It's fun. I enjoy doing it, so it's no big deal. But I cried a little, on the inside, and I cried on the outside because I tear gassed my whole kitchen. But it's just an excuse to go get more peppers and do it again.
Yeah, I suppose. And It sounds to me like you're gonna have to get another blender while you're at it, huh?
Yep, I bought a cheap one, way back in the day, and I just need to get a better one for stuff like this.
Yeah, I suppose. That's man, what a tragedy. Well, I, it just makes me cringe at the thought of picking the blender up off of the base and having it break like that, and losing, all of the frozen margarita or whatever it is that I happen to have in the blender at the time. I would be I would be so upset. But man, I'm glad we're able to tell the story and kind of chuckle about it, and look forward to hearing of further hot sauce adventures. Thank you for that, Kirby. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on now to Atlanta 36. Bill, somewhere in the shadow of the mighty Pine Log Mountain Repeater. And Bill, we got something going on this weekend?
Good evening, and good evening to the net. How am I sounding on the mighty Pine Log? I'm in the metropolis of Menlo and trying to point towards the mighty Pine Log. Receive on the Taylor's Ridge machine was a little bit low, but am I making it?
You're making it. We've got some white noise, and I can hear the strobe light clicking and flacking and making its little presence known. But your audio is good, so I would say proceed.
Okay. Now I'll just go back to the Taylor's Ridge machine here.
That's better.
Should be full quieting. I'll see if I can work on that. I'm on a 25 water. I'm going to try and take it up to the 40 water tomorrow, so I'll tweak on it and see if I can get clearer into the Pine Log. But hope everyone is doing well. And yes, looking forward to Saturday at 6 p.m. on the newest installment of the Cabin Fever net. And this week, and looking to just get comments and, let me cycle, and reaction to basically the whole sheltering in place, kind of a reverse cabin fever situation. How are we doing? What are we liking? What aren't we liking? What have we adapted to? And I guess, how is it working out? And maybe some other things thrown in as well. But at any rate, looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll have a bunch of folks check in.
Well, outstanding. Yes, I am definitely looking forward to our Cabin Fever Series net on Saturday at 6 p.m. And so I plan to be there, and I'll be thinking about the aspects of the shelter-in-place order and the things that I like and the things that I don't like. And yeah, that's a pretty good list right off the bat. But that'll be a great conversation on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to that and looking forward to hearing from you and everyone else that checks in on the Cabin Fever Net Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Do you have anything else going on, Bill?
Nope, have been working on, believe it or not, radios. So going to try and get the 40 water in here tomorrow and work on the beam a little bit. And cause I would like to work off the Pine Log if possible, but if not, and I'll know that tomorrow, then I'll work off the Taylor's Ridge machine. How am I sounding on Taylor's Ridge?
Your last came in over Pine Log with the white noise and the strobe light sounds again. When you were on the Taylor's Ridge machine earlier, you were full quieting. We did hear what sounded like a little bit of digital noise, probably on the link, but overall it was very minor, and your audio was excellent on the Taylor's Ridge machine. But your very last came across on Pine Log again. But in both cases, your audio is good, even with the white noise behind it. It's a very clear receive.
Thank you for that. And yep, had it on scan, and I scanned right back over to the Mighty Pine log. But I'll work on that tomorrow. But regardless, we'll be up on one or the other. Looking forward to it. And I will go ahead and throw it back to net control.
Fantastic. And that one came across the Somerville link and sounded perfect. So there we go. So I would say when you do the net on Saturday, you're probably going to be okay on either one. Maybe just leave it on scan. But yeah, that should work out well. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 940 Red 40. Shannon is in and out tonight. Thank you, Shannon, for checking in with us. Always glad to hear from you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on next to Atlanta 275, Ken in Canton. Ken, how you doing tonight?
I am doing well, sir, and today was my birthday, and lucky enough, I got a present. I got a swarm of bees that we were able to catch, and so now I have an additional beehive. It just took up in a dogwood tree, and we were able to capture those, my wife and I, and now I have 3 hives, so all is good.
Well, that is fantastic. You know, beekeeping is something that has interested my wife, 947. We have talked about it, it seems like every summer for I don't even know how long. So, yeah, I think that that's very cool stuff. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that I like honey, and I like honey that comes from nearby rather than the honey that you buy at the supermarket. The farmer's market honey, and that's been a little hard to come by this year. But it seems though that honey tastes better. Not that I've ever had bad honey, but that honey seems to taste better. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the knowing that you're helping out a local neighbor with a little bit of income while they enjoy their hobby or their profession, whichever it may be. But beekeeping is a cool thing. So yeah, we might have to come visit and ask questions. And I don't know if this is something we will ever get into, but it sure is a fascinating subject.
Yes, it is, and believe it or not, Cherokee County has one of the premier beekeeping clubs that you can obtain a lot of information, but by all means, we are willing to answer questions for you. Over.
Fantastic. Well, I guess that's something we can look forward to this summer is getting to learn a little bit more about beekeeping and the things that are involved in it. And yeah, so and I would love to know more about how you capture the bees from the tree and get them to go into a hive and take up residency there. Is there something about the structure of a hive that they like better than what they come to naturally?
Well, we give them a head start with the frames inside of the hive that has a foundation that gives them a jump start on building the wax and building the hive out. So we give them the bones of the structure, and then they just naturally go in and fill it in. So with that, it's to their advantage to do that. And also, we throw sugar water in there to kind of entice them to stay as well. In the jars, you see the mason jars on the front full of sugar water, and they will in turn know that's a food source, and that entices them to stay as well. Over.
Yeah, neat. I suppose I never considered the food source as being a part of the element, but I do like to go places where I can eat. So I can understand, I can relate to that. That's cool stuff. Well, thank you, Ken, for that little bit of a peek into the world of beekeeping. That's neat stuff. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 253, Donald in Blairsville. How you doing this evening, Donald? And what are you doing to keep out of trouble during these days of cabin fever?
Good evening to the rest of the net. Just working on the farm at my cousin's, and that's about it.
I understand working on the farm. Um, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that you can do on the farm, and some of it's fun and some of it's not so fun. But as long as it keeps you busy and interested, I guess that's all that really counts. So you're coming in on the Sassafras repeater this evening instead of Zello. That's very, very nice. Your copy is a little bit rough, but it's readable. So that's great stuff. Did you do some work on your base antenna over there?
Put a pole up, and it's 20 foot up in the air now.
Fantastic. So you're 20 feet up. Are you on a directional antenna or is that an Omni?
And
Didn't copy. Okay, Donald, I didn't copy that, but we can get more into that as time goes on. I'm glad to hear you're able to make it in on RF now, and so hopefully we can keep improving that and get you where you need to be. That's good stuff. Thank you, Donald, and enjoy the farm, and we'll be checking in with you again here real soon. Next on my list, I have a bunch of in and outs here, so let's go through them here real quick. I have Atlanta 130 Davis in Noonan. Davis was in and out. Thank you, Davis, for checking in with us tonight. Always good to hear from you and hope things are going well. Next, I have Noonan 25 and Noonan 26, Joe and Mary Catherine. I know that Joe has a training activity that he is likely involved in with Georgia Oxcom, and that is happening at the same time this net is happening, so he was short time tonight. And Mary Catherine is likely continuing her studies. So thank you, you two, down there in Noonan. Glad to hear from you. Next from Noonan, I have Atlanta 29 Marty in Tyrone. Marty was also in and out tonight. So thank you, Marty, for checking in with us and hope things are going well with you. Some great photographs that you'd posted this week on Facebook with an antenna project and very cool stuff to see. And the thing that I noted when I was looking at those photos is your HF antenna. Um, you know, if you're in an HOA, a neighborhood, and I don't believe that you are, but if you were, um, an HOA would be hard pressed to see that antenna strung across the yard because it's just a wire and it's really, really hard to see. So something to bear in mind. You know, we hear so many people concerned about what it's going to take to get an antenna up, and maybe it's not that hard. Maybe it's just you do it and you don't say anything, and if nobody can see it, what have they got to say? So that's a thought. And but that's HF. We don't really have those issues with GMRS. So I don't know. Your GMRS antenna is going to be a little harder to hide probably. But clamp it to a roof vent, and they'll just assume it's part of your roof structure. I would go with that. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 210 and Atlanta 211. Stephen and Marla in Amicalola Falls. How you doing this evening, Stephen?
Good to hear from everyone. We didn't really plan this trip to Amicalola, but got on a motorcycle this afternoon. Next thing you know, we were up here with a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 Jeep Lodge, and we're here for the night. So,
fantastic.
Getting great reception off Sassafras.
Fantastic. You know, while you're up in that neck of the woods, you ought to take a little drive by and go visit the repeater location on the top of Burnt Mountain for the Sassafras repeater. It's an interesting place to go, and there's some other interesting sites on that very same road. So if you'll give me a telephone call here after a while, I'll tell you a little bit about that, and maybe you can make that a part of your tomorrow. But enjoy Amicalola Falls. It's a very cool place to hang out. We once had a fox hunt there. So Joe and Mary Catherine came up and they set up a fox hunt for us to learn about tracking radio signals. And it's something that we'll likely do again at some point after all of this clears with the COVID-19 coronavirus concerns. It's very likely we'll engage in that activity again. Other activities that we have engaged in or partnered in other radio clubs with have been things like balloon launches and Pico balloon launches, and there have been other fox hunt activities that we have enjoyed as guests for other ham radio clubs in the area. So there are many of those types of things that we will explore doing as time goes on, and but so many of those opportunities just aren't available due to current circumstances. But yeah, definitely, Stephen, give me a call and I'll talk to you some more about Burnt Mountain and the Sassafras Repeater. It's a very enjoyable trip. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 170, Jesse in Lilburn. How you doing this evening, Jesse?
Hey, Justin. Hello to everybody else in the net this evening. We're doing pretty well. Just actually, here, let me cut this other one down. Anyway, just happy to be a part of the net this evening. I've missed, I don't know, it's been a bunch. I've missed quite a few of them. But anyway, happy to hear that everybody is doing well, and just wanted to say hello.
Well, hello, and I know that you've had some crazy work stuff going on, and had a really tough rotation of a work schedule here for the last month, or 5 weeks, or 6 weeks, or whatever it's been. And is that done now, or are you still going to have to get back into that?
Negative. No, my rotation ended last weekend. I got one further trip to make. Good God, I thought I cut all the radios off. But anyway, I got one more trip to make. That's actually happening at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have to go to Pine Bluff Arsenal in Whitehall, Arkansas tomorrow. And, but anyway, from that point forward, I'm back to a typical, God, I hope it's just 40 hours a week or less.
All right. Well, glad to hear that very demanding schedule that you were working under has come to an end. I know that was a challenge, but it's very cool that you were able to step up and meet that challenge and satisfy that tremendous need at a critical time. So that's cool stuff. And at one point, you'll be able to come on the air and tell us all about what you've done whenever you're ready. So neat stuff, and hopefully soon you'll be able to participate in a Saturday evening event as well. With that, thank you, Jesse, for your comments, and glad to have you back in here. We missed you while you were gone, but glad to have you back. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Next on my list is Atlanta 291, Nick in Ackworth. I have Nick down as in and out. Thank you for checking in with us tonight, Nick. It's always a pleasure. And that is the end of my list. And it looks like somebody trying to key in here.
I don't know if it was a mic issue or a key issue there, but anyway, just letting you know that we kind of lost you.
Ah, yes, and I noticed that here as well. All right, thank you for that. And I'm not sure where I got where I lost the key, but let me just go back through that again. We have Atlanta 291 Nick in Ackworth. Thank you, Nick, for checking in with us this evening. Always a pleasure to hear from you. That brings me to the end of my list. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor for any questions, comments, or concerns, and any late check-ins. Any comments, late check-ins, please call Net Control now.
This is Atlanta 517 WQXB 554, Bob and Dallas.
This is Atlanta 911 WRAS 515. Stop.
Net Control acknowledging Atlanta 517, Bob in Dallas. Thank you, Bob, for checking in with us tonight. And we have Atlanta 911, Cassandra in Woodstock. And I don't know how I did that, but I spelled your name wrong. I had to go figure. And that's what I have for check-ins tonight. At this point, let me go back to Atlanta 517 and see what Bob's up to over in Dallas.
Good evening, everybody. Good to hear Bill back on the air there a little bit. Yeah, we're working just like ever. We're public safety, so we don't take breaks from stuff. So we've been working through the whole thing and regular shifts and all that kind of stuff, and we haven't been impacted too terribly bad. So that's a good thing. Been using the good weather around the house to do some house improvements, and went and took a tower down a couple of weeks ago. So I got to find somebody with a weak mind and a strong back to help me dig a hole to replant a tower.
The weak mind and strong back. I think if you had the appropriate motivation, aka fuel, you could probably get a number of volunteers, a rotation perhaps. And yeah, dig a little, drink a little, dig a little, drink a little, drink a little more. There could be a country music song in there if you look carefully. But in any case, that sounds like a cool thing. How many sections were you able to get?
I think we ended up with 6. Yeah, we started at 65 foot, and we ended up cutting off the bottom, I don't know, 3 or 4 foot. So we ended up with, I think we got 60 foot, including the top.
All right, excellent. Well, that's enough. That gets you up there enough. So that's good stuff. Is that roan? Do you have to guy it, or is that something that'll stand up on its own?
Well, technically, it's a roan 25G, so technically it's supposed to have 2 house brackets on it. But I think what I'm going to do a hybrid. So I'm going to do 1 house bracket and 1 set of guys. But I got to sit down and do the math and figure out how to set the guys up so it'll all work.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, the place where I want to set a tower is it doesn't. I don't have enough distance between that spot and the edge of the property to be able to guy it. So it really needs to be a self-stander. So I don't know. That would be my first choice. That and a tree come down. My second choice, I haven't been able to sell to my wife, so it's probably not even worth discussing. But cool stuff. All right. Well, I'll send Atlanta 911 over with a shovel, and we'll get started on that hole.
I'll buy all the beer anybody wants to drink.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Yeah, I think, man, I wish we didn't have things going on because I'd love to come over and watch people dig that hole and help out a little bit. But it's just a challenging environment right now, and 947 probably wouldn't let me come over and play.
Understood. Yeah, if I get it done by the end of summer, I'll be perfectly on schedule. It was an opportunity. Guy just came up on Facebook and said he wanted to get rid of a tower. Come get it, take it down. It was a royal pain to get down, but we got it down, and so I got nothing invested in it. It's just the opportunity was there, and try to help him out and get a tower in the meantime.
Excellent. Yeah, I've got about 30 feet of roan 25 here, and it's bracketed. It's a complete amateur install, and it is not safe to climb, and it's a rusty old mess. And one of these days, we're just going to cut it down. But for now, it holds up a TV antenna, and that's it. So we've cut the cable. I mean, we were cable cutters before we moved to Georgia, and we've been in Georgia for 10 years now. Literally 10 years now that it's April. Yeah, we've got. In fact, right now I've got AT&T Uverse, which includes TV. Don't have it hooked up anywhere in the house. I have the receiver with no Ethernet cable to the receiver, so it just sits there, looking like it ought to work, but it doesn't. So I mean, that's how much I'm into TV. But meanwhile, we've got that silly antenna if we have to turn on WSB. So cool stuff. All right, with that, Bob, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Atlanta 911. Where's the fire?
You're funny, Justin. Good evening, everybody. So it's been a crazy busy week over here. So first I want to make a couple comments on things that I heard since I turned the radio on, and when you believe I actually remember turning the radio on. But Justin, I think you need a mask that resembles the one that Hannibal Lecter had in Silence of the Lambs. What do you think?
I think I haven't seen that movie in, like 30 years? I don't remember what that mask even is. Why don't you find a picture and post it somewhere where we'll find it on Facebook?
Basically bars across your mouth. But anyways, I wanted to say a huge thank you to Atlanta 947 for helping me out yesterday. I had dinner on my church with my new people. Been running like mad with work, and I've kind of picked up a new addiction, kind of like you guys with the radio. I decided I was going to garden this year, and I figured I'd put a few things in, and a few things turned into a few more, and then a few more turned into a whole lot more. So I've been doing nothing but spending time looking on YouTube and on different Facebook pages on all these huge high hopes I have for things. In fact, I just put an ad out on Facebook to get some helpers over here. So if anybody knows of a teenager or somebody who's out of work and wants to make a little bit of money doing some yard work, helping around, let me know, because I need to get some help over here cleaning up the food and flowers.
Yeah, okay. Had a tough copy on you for most of that, but I think we got the gist of it. 947 helped you out with moving that table. You know, ever since I got that pickup truck, I've really enjoyed having that pickup truck, but I think that 947 has actually driving it more than I am now. She takes a couple of trips a day with the hounds over to the high school to walk around, and I'm able to do sometimes one of those, but I don't think I've done one yet this week. It's just been it's been a weird week. I've been working hard on a couple of projects, and I'm tired when I'm done, and then I'm not sleeping well, and so my interest in walking with the dogs has not been what it should be. But we'll get back into that. But yeah, she's put more miles on that truck here lately than I have. But it's that's all part of it. So you're taking up gardening, and that's cool stuff. We've been on again, off again gardeners here. I've done a couple of things to make it very easy, like these planter box things that I made a few years ago, where they're right there at waist height, and they're small, and they're real easy to put things like garden herbs in, and grow that kind of a thing in it. We've not been very successful with the basic stuff like tomatoes. Everybody can grow tomatoes. We grow tomatoes, and I don't know. They're not that good. They they don't look good. They're not that tasty to eat. They're just I don't know. So there is an art to it as well as the effort of going through all of that. But that's cool stuff. And one more thing, my radio adventures this week have resulted in loss of programming in the radio that was in the Ford. So I changed that radio out with a newer one that I've acquired this year, and I've got the install done, but I'm having some challenges in getting it programmed. So I ordered some software with a license, and I should be able to program that radio late next week. But meanwhile, I've also got a programming challenge for a Kenwood 860, and once I get that radio programmed, we're going to bring that over and install it at your house. So be thinking about where you want that radio located, and the antenna. We're going to have an antenna on a mast that will attach somewhere outside or near your house, and we'll have to figure out the cabling and all of that. So um, be thinking about how you want to do that, and we'll figure that out. It sounds to me like you need help with your garden. You need the same guys that Bob needs help with digging that hole so he can plant that tower. It's the same thing, really. You're gonna dig a hole, or you're gonna cultivate the ground and break up the soil, and you're gonna make little holes in it for the little tower seeds to grow, and you're probably going to put some kind of powdery, rocky substance in that hole and water it, and then a tower will grow out of it, or fruits and vegetables. But either way, it's a very similar kind of work, and I would be fascinated in watching either one. So good stuff, Cassandra. Glad you're able to make it in here. And we get a base radio installed over there, and all of those receive issues will go away because you're at an excellent location. But we'll get you off of that 5-watt radio and into something that works really, really well. This is the end of my list. I'm going to make one last call for questions, comments, and late check-ins. Please call Net Control now.
Happy birthday, 275.
Yes, happy birthday. And I actually do have one other question with my gardening dilemma. Is anybody know a good place to get cheap, horrible fish inexpensively? I'm just going to throw it in the ground for fertilizer. So if you know of a place, let me know.
Bait shop. Well, I didn't hear any other comments in there, but my thought is a place to get cheap fish would be a bait shop, and you might even go in and ask them for the dead ones. They get minnows in, and they may have a certain number of minnows that die each day, and maybe they can fish those minnows out of the tank and set them aside for you to pick up once every couple of days. And they're not very big, but over the course of a couple of weeks, you might have what you're looking for. So that's probably the route I would recommend. Anybody else have any better ideas as to where to get some fish, some dead fish, or even some fish parts that she could break up into her soil for fertilizer purposes?
Wuhan, China.
Wuhan, China. Yeah, I imagine the wet market in Wuhan would be a great place to get some cheap fish. That that would be that would be a good choice.
I think that plane ride, getting over there for transportation, would kind of negate the cheap part.
Take a boat.
Atlanta 20 WQYJ 536 on the back porch, hoping I can get in to do a late check-in.
Atlanta 20, you sound good. Come on in. I'm going to go ahead and log you in here.
I'm on actually the front porch and sitting here with the dog and sipping on a cold one. And I was trying to get in, but I forgot I had my rig on scan. Didn't realize I was checking in on another frequency because I was on scan. So lesson learned to pay attention to the rig. WQYJ 536 Atlanta 20.
Yes, and that's something that catches me every now and then. I've got a push button key that I use. It's actually a foot pedal, but I use it in my hand. And I've noticed that if I squeeze it in the center, it seems to be pretty solid. But if I get off to one side or the other, then even though I'm squeezing it pretty hard, I lose the key in the middle of my TX. And I get caught doing that from time to time. So little things. It's the little things that always get us, Tom. And, well, you know, it doesn't matter how long or how often you do this, you still run into those little things.
Okay, I'll let you go on with the net, whatever's left of it there. I know it's toward the end, and thanks for all you guys do. You know, you keep me happy when I'm running around the mobile. I don't key up a whole lot, but I do love to listen, so it's always fun listening to everybody, especially from Sassafras. Take care, and I'll be listening. WQYG 536 Atlanta 20 on the front porch, East LJ, Georgia. I'll be listening.
All right, Tom. Well, thank you again for that late check-in. And do we have any additional late check-ins? We're getting close to wrapping this one up. Any last comments or any late check-ins? Call Net Control now.
That's 7-3.
Last station, all I heard was 7-3. Can you come back again?
Atlanta 7-3, KF 9860, in and out.
Atlanta 7-3. Okay, I've got you in here, in and out. Let me look and see if I can find your name. Looks like Ed. All right, Ed. I've got you in a log. In and out. Thank you for that check-in. And we look forward to hearing from you again real soon. All right, any additional check-ins? Any other comments? Call Net Control now. Okay, hearing nothing, I'm going to go ahead and close the net. Just because we're ending the net doesn't mean the conversation has to end. Everyone is welcome to continue. Ragchew, at the conclusion of the net, any comments, questions, or conversations are absolutely welcome and encouraged. This concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we had a total of 28 check-ins, including myself. Net Control will be returning the repeater back to normal use. Everyone that signed in should sign out. Thank you for allowing me to be your Net Control tonight. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946, WQYR 514, clear.
Have a good night, everybody.
WQYG 536, other service, I'll be QRT.
Atlanta 57, WQZC 82. I'll be clear and monitoring.
All right, folks.
Atlanta 780, WQUV 439, clear. Good evening, all.
All right, I'm going to let these folks check out, and I'm not going to worry about checking them out in the log.
210, 211,
Let's see here.
clear.
There we go. Oh, nope.
Atlanta 26, WRAV 450, clear.
Okay, we're going to fade those guys out. And I'm going to move over to this table. And I'm going to say thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us on YouTube tonight. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great net. Had a good time hanging out with you. And looking forward to doing this again next week. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close things out. And again, just thanks. We'll talk to you all again real soon. This is me. What am I doing? I'm not on the radio. So we'll catch up with you guys again real soon. Good night, everyone.